Welcome to Africa Media Australia, and today we're talking about social mobility. This is a subject that we have been talking about for quite a while. This is a series of videos that we're producing that is related to social mobility, and I have with me Fundi Kira Kipaya, who is our usual guest, transformational coach based in Sydney. Hi, Fundi.
Hi, Clyde. How you doing?
Good, good. Thanks very much for your time. We still in the. Yep, go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. We're still in the topic of social mobility, and today we're specifically talking about knowing your strength. If we're talking about social mobility, upward social mobility, that is part of economic empowerment. We want people to move from here to there, and that's all connects with the idea of entrepreneurship being a vehicle that allows us to move from here to there. But it is important to, before you engage, or even whilst you've already started your journey into entrepreneurship, to know your strength, to know the gap that there may be between what you would like to be able to achieve and where you are with your capacity. So, Fundi, we're talking about strength. That is actually a very important thing, because even if we look into history, if we've been colonized, if we've been, we continue to be dominated on a collective level as people of African descent, and then we live in a minority context in the diaspora. All that is linked to strength, isn't it?
Yes, and that is something we should be focusing to develop ourselves, to reach personal bests and go beyond personal best, to transcend those limitations and barriers in life.
So how do we start? So we know that we have to be strong. We have to develop strength. I suppose you're saying, all right, you start on an individual level. You kind of do a self-assessment, self-auditing to understand, obviously, who you are, where are your strengths, your weaknesses, and how do you go about attending to this? Is that what you mean?
Yes, absolutely. That's what I mean. And for me, just to break it down, it's easier to put it in one word. For example, if we are looking at our ability to learn or to absorb knowledge, or to find what sort of skills we want to specialize or work around, I would say the aptitude. So aptitude is just the ability ability to be able to build capabilities in what you are intending to do. And that is very important, to know where you are starting from and how far can you go. And this is a kind of skill which is very important to develop, to be able to, every time you go on your milestones, to be able to know how far have you got and how much have you grown from where you started to learn something. And this is very important.
Okay, so on a personal level, that is, but let's now talk about the collective level, because we always want to connect this to these things to not just what we can do on an individual level, but as a community, within the context of the diaspora community, as well as the broader African continent. How do we also address the same thing on a community level? So I suppose on a community level, we could talk about capacity building, because first you identify the gap, the capacity assessment of the community and the gap that is identified. Then you build strategies to develop to do what they call capacity building, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. We need to. I mean, what is a community without individuals? So you can have a bunch of people or individuals who are all working too hard on their weaknesses instead of picking up the strength and identifying them, and then elevating to a different level and compensating each other by complementing each other. Okay, so Clyde, you might be strong in mathematics and I'm not. I will depend on you within the community level. Yeah. And myself, I might have something which I am good at, and you can leverage from that. And that's what the importance of communities, and that's the importance of collaboration is. But there's no point building a team which can only play a lower league and take it to a higher league. It's not going to perform well. It's going to have dismal performance. So
Yeah.
we need to be able to do this self-auditing as individuals to make individual efforts, so then we can build our communities better.
It's just like a soccer team. You have very good, individual players, but at some point, then you need to see how these individual players can combine their strength to make the team stronger, isn't it?
Correct. Yes. So basically, complementing each other in your weaknesses and strength takes the community to another level. Yeah.
All right. So aptitude. So, and I suppose this connects to the broader theme of mindset, because I think mindset is one of the key issue or the key thing that is that could explain why we are where we are as a people, and why we need to work more on our strength to be able to fill the gap between where we are now and where we'd like to be and be able to compete on international level. So when we talk about mindset, we need to sort of break that. What goes into it? When I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, Africa, the problem is mindset. Africans, the problem is mindset." Let's try to break that into how would you go about that?
Yeah, so that's what I say. So mindset is, to me, I look at it as an umbrella item of those capabilities an individual would have. Okay, so I say aptitude is the first thing, which we have already discussed. So now we're going to look at attitude. Okay, and the attitudes of the individuals plays a very big role. How you present yourself, your demeanor, your behaviors, your habits, and how you view the world, your perception of the world, and what is it that means to you, if it is success or failure. How do you deal even with people? How do you deal with yourself? How do you deal with people within your community and outside community? That attitude will get you somewhere or will break you down. So attitude is very, yeah.
Attitude will also give you latitude, I suppose. So at some point, if you keep it, strong enough, if you keep it at the right level, and then, But actually, before we go even further, do you think there is an issue of attitude or even aptitude? Because we're talking about these two things now, aptitude and attitude. Do you think we really have big issues within African communities that could explain why we are where we are?
Yes. I believe, for example, aptitude could be also how we standardize what we believe is enough. Okay, so and I've said this before, that we have focused so much on our conventional education. We have all these standardized, degrees and all these things. These things are good because they give you skills and knowledge and a lot of other things which helps you to even present yourself as I have this standard of education, but you need more than that. You need more than that. Meaning, it's not like you only play soccer game on the day and never train, never do anything. You always prepare so that you don't become not good enough. And we have this in our attitude sometimes. We think we are not good enough. So for me, I would say I like to play with words. So NGE, not good enough. We can change that into need for growth is excellence. And that's an NGE too. So we have to think about investing ourselves. This idea of investing in mediocrity and expecting excellence is something we need to really turn that around. And that comes in our attitude. Well, like if we are asked to do a task or something, we need to think, okay, what sort of standards do we need to bring to this so that we can bring excellence and not mediocrity?
Well, you just said something there that caught my attention: investing in mediocrity and expecting excellence. You think we are really investing in mediocrity voluntarily or involuntarily?
Well, this is what I'm saying. So if we are not uh, authentic about how we look at ourselves in the mirror and not convince ourselves that everything is okay, we have to be suspicious that we think we have achieved all these educations and everything, and then when we try to produce, we don't come up with something which is beneficial. So yes, we have to ask ourselves. We have to ask ourselves. And I'm not saying this in a demeaning way or on a condescending way or even delegatory. No, not at all. What I'm saying is we have to be honest with ourselves, okay? And then we have to compare with other people or other communities. Why other communities are performing well in this area? What can we learn from them? We need to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we need to invest in ourselves to build the strength that we require in order for us to achieve the heights that we are aiming for. Otherwise, it would just be talk. And then I suppose we also need to develop some sort of stamina, because things can get tough in that journey towards elevation, and that's where perhaps fortitude comes in, isn't it?
Correct. So out of those three terms, fortitude is very important because everything can go well. You can plan very well. You can have strategies on what you want to do. You've done your self-auditing. You've done your homework. You are reaching your personal bests and everything. And then if something goes wrong, what is your response? Is that going to be a reaction or a response? And a response, can you persevere the hard times, to go through the hard times without backing out? Can you fight, get up and go? Can you, bring the grit? Can you sustain when things don't go well?
Yeah.
Can you? Yeah. So that's fortitude. So, and that needs to be, to be built is stamina and endurance to survive in an environment where you're challenged.
One thing that I've seen over the years in my experience in the community is that we seem to not to know how to disagree, and therefore when something goes wrong, because when you are in a collective sort of setting in a group, things at some point will go wrong, but then people need to know how to perhaps pick themselves up and continue the journey. But a lot of times when things go wrong, we tend to have a lot of difficulty as Africans to be able to repair what has gone wrong and continue the journey. Why do you think that is the case?
That's what I was talking about, because sometimes people don't even want to participate in a community where when they scan quickly and they do an audit and look around the individuals who are involved, maybe they think they're not good enough. And then no one wants to participate in a place where you are underperforming. You want to perform high. So, and that's why people find that they might as well, I'm not going to participate in this because I'm not interested in this underperformance. And why? Because we've been disappointed too many times.
Mm-hmm.
That's the why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we've been disappointed too many times, or we disappoint ourselves. And we eventually start reacting to anything, and even just anticipate something. If we do from last experience, we're gonna fail. And that's not a good attitude. That's not a good attitude at all. We have to know that failure is something we can learn from, and then increase our ability and capacity to work together and lift ourselves up.
Well, that's a good way of ending this conversation. I know it's a short one, but I think maybe next time we'll talk more about this whole thing about disagreement within the community settings, because as strong as we can be individually, if we do not know how to work together, and that means facing difficult issues in reasonable ways and trying to fix what can go wrong or what has gone wrong, and then we're not going to be able to go far. So it's like, if you're building a ship to Mars and something goes wrong, you don't just want to say, okay, that's it, I'm not doing it anymore. Elon Musk tried a few times before he was able to successfully lift his what do you call it, spaceship, in a way that has not been conventional. So we ought to be able to think how we can not only participate but also be able to fix things when things go wrong, because a lot of things that I've seen is those who have the capacity, the ability to lead the community, they stay back because they don't want to be disappointed. Those who are doing it may not necessarily have the right skills or the capacity, but they are courageous and they want to do it. But and the two things still do not get us anywhere. So that's another topic for another time. Fundi, I want to say thank you again, as usual, for your insightful commentary, and we will continue to discuss all of these issues that perhaps may help us, or the things that we need to be aware of when it comes to social mobility and economic empowerment. Thank you very much, Fundi.
Thank you, Clyde. Two words before we go. We have to remember to have gratitude and humility. Thank you.
Gratitude and humility. Thank you very much, guys. If you're watching this video, we will encourage you to share it, to like the video, to comment, and also if you want to participate in some of this conversation, do not hesitate to contact us. Until next time, stay connected. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Clyde.